Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis, and this is another edition of No Capes, where I talk about comic books that don't have to do with superheroes, and Ethan either doesn't read them or doesn't review them with me. First off, I'm going to talk about Multiple Warheads. This is the Alphabet to Infinity, number 2 of 4. Kind of hard to talk about this comic book. It is outstanding in my opinion. It is a interesting slice of like avant pop art. It's amazing how in this book there's large open spaces, but there is such insane detail around those large open spaces. You could go back and look at this book over and over again with all the different little things that go on in the book. Besides our two groups of characters that are running around whose paths have not crossed yet. Curious to see if they do. We'll have 2 more issues to see if that happens. To see if we have much of a storyline beyond this one group traveling in their car. Just out seeing the world, and our bounty hunter who is trying to collect bits and pieces and finds that when they go to collect their person, that there are multiple people that fit the description of the person they're collecting. But it's really more so than just the bizarrety of the storyline itself, which will be hard for me to explain beyond that. It's the art itself. It's all the little bits and pieces. It's all the play on words, the puns, the little, like I said, little descriptions of stuff. I mean, down this corner, right down here. Probably can't see that. That word right there says heavy, and that's a pile of. Yeah. But it's just the cover alone is just full of insanity. Busy, busy, busy. Just lots of crazy stuff. But all of it's that way. And it's just great. I mean, if you're not into, strange, bizarre, just going on a fun trip type artwork, not the book for you. I'd be very nervous to recommend this book to very many people. I'd really have to know that you had a taste for the odd. Comic Crack, I have talked with him about the book a little bit. I know it's kind of within his realm of reading, just because he does read some more really independent, more avant type books, and that's what this kind of falls under. I would be nervous to recommend this to anybody else. Gladly show it to everybody else, because it's just, it is cool. It's a really cool book. Just in these, this is our opening pages. It's giant open space, right? Looks like lots of giant open space. But all this stuff that's going on down here is extremely busy. I have read this comic over 4 times now. First time just basically reading simply what I could catch just looking at it, and then going back and scouring the pages just to see all the little things, and the humor and the play on words and stuff is just it's excellent. I mean, it's beyond. I'd be attacked by lizards. These giant lizards. They drive them off a cliff. At one point, they're in a hotel room, and they are watching some sport. And on the very back of the book, no ads in this thing, by the way. And in the back of this book, they actually explain the whole sport. And it's literally a matter of they have these 2 creatures sitting on this field, and the one that can birth the most children by the time the match is over with is the winner. But some of the children get eaten, and the referees smear themselves in as disgusting stuff as they can so they don't smell good, so they don't get eaten while they're reffing the thing. It's just bizarre. A fun book. I look forward to the next two issues. I'm glad I took a chance on it, and it's just fun. It's just a fun look at some strange art, and I'm really digging it. Anyway, next I'm going to talk about BPRD 1948, number 2 of 5. Of course, the title alone tells you when it's set. This is the second issue of our time in 1948, when a bomb was dropped and we get lots more creatures. I meant to do some research before I did this video to look and see if this is the same artist that was on issue number 1, because it looks different. People look a little more elongated and stretched out and proportionally a little stranger in this one than the last one. This one really had more setup than the first issue. The first issue was interesting and exciting and whatnot. There are some monsters in this one that we get to see, and there's a little bit of excitement about shooting up those monsters and stuff. And there's kind of an alien autopsy in here. Bits and pieces. It was interesting, but didn't feel very solid by itself. It seemed like we got shown monsters just for the sake of showing monsters and stuff. And there's some conflict, and I'm not sure what the point of that conflict is. And granted, that may all be explained to us in the next issue or over this miniseries. But it didn't leave me wondering why, just that there was the conflict without conflict. I don't have to have everything answered for me in a single issue. Obviously, that's the point of reading something that's over a multitude of issues. But if you're going to have this mysterious conflict, you should give me a reason to want to be interested in it. And at this point, I don't have an interest as to why I should be interested in why some of the BPRD members are not getting along with each other and whatnot. And maybe that's because I don't have the history with the characters, maybe because I didn't read the 1946 and the 1947 miniseries that were out. Maybe that's my problem. But if that's my problem, that's their problem too, because they should be able to make a miniseries without me needing all that information to enjoy this. Some interesting things are going to happen. It sounds to me like there's potential that Hellboy, and this is baby Hellboy, this is Hellboy who's like 4 years old, but obviously talks, smokes cigarettes, and all kinds of stuff, is potentially going to meet Truman, President Truman. And if they actually put that in the comic, that will be really interesting just to see that, I think. I'm enjoying it, but I'm not as excited by this as I have been by most of the other BPRD stuff that's coming out, and the main storyline from the regular thing, besides this miniseries. But I'll keep picking up and see where we go with the next issue to see whether that puts it back on the right track or not. Anyway, that was BPRD 48. And lastly, for this time, I'm going to talk about Ghost number 2. That is an absolutely gorgeous cover by Phil Noto. I'm going to continue to talk about this because sometimes it bothers me. Phil Noto does some really gorgeous artwork and has some really interesting colors, and I like the style that he uses. But sometimes they're too static. It feels like I'm looking at a bunch of pictures and not something that has a flow to it when I'm reading his sequential artwork. And a lot of times some of the characters will look an awful lot alike, have very few features that make them different from each other. So that is sometimes hard for me when I'm reading the books. And it's my one criticism of Phil Noto. I love the way this stuff looks as far as a single picture or a single panel most of the time. But as sequential art, sometimes it doesn't feel like it has movement or it has life to it. It's like taking a snapshot, a very gorgeous snapshot of a scene, and then another one, and then another one. But there's something about it that doesn't have the same kind of liveliness to it that other sequential art has. And I'm not sure what that's about, and I'm not sure if I'm explaining it that way, explaining it well or not. Maybe somebody can let me know if they agree with me or they totally think I'm wrong, and his art has all kinds of life to it and whatnot. The story itself is pretty interesting. Of course, we have the aftermath of our devil-type character murdering, or not murdering, I guess, didn't actually kill her, put her in the hospital of this Dr. October, who had this box that basically summoned up our ghost character. By the end of this issue, we find out, we think we know who the ghost character is. She discovers herself, she stole a file from the place. Our ex-reporter got himself thrown in jail, but almost arrested because as they went to the crime scene where Dr. October was potentially almost murdered at, they stole some stuff from there. They run from the police. She guns down some of the policemen, or guns their cars down anyway. And it has a crazy car chase scene in it. We have more interaction between Vaughn, the ex-reporter, and his ex-girlfriend slash wife, who is now, that wife is dating the mayor, who is also the demon devil guy that tried to murder Dr. October, that's in charge of this whole dimensional thing. So it's a complicated story, but somewhat interesting. Well, not so much, it's interesting. I'm enjoying the book. I love this cover. It's a beautiful cover. I'm still not 100% sold on Phil Noto as a sequential artist, though. I really like his covers. I like his individual artwork that he does and whatnot, but I don't know. This is number 2 of 4. I thought this was announced as an ongoing. It started out as a miniseries, and then they changed it to an ongoing. So I don't know if they'll do like an arc and take some time, and then do another arc, and take some time and do an arc. I'm not sure exactly what the plan is. But I'll at least get through this arc just to see what's going on, because I'm curious to see what happens after this. Once she discovers who she is, then what's next? You know, kind of a thing. And of course, at the end of this, we find out that Dr. October isn't nearly as injured as what she seems, or she's got her own crazy kind of powers going on and whatnot, and she's obviously going to be a menacing threat by the time this is done. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm not sure if I'd recommend to pick it up or not, because I'm somewhat bothered by the Phil Noto art. If you like Phil Noto's art, pick it up. You'll enjoy it a whole bunch. But I'm kind of on the fence. I mean, there's 2 more issues. I'll definitely pick up those 2 issues. I think the writing is well. The dialogue is fun, and the idea of the story is interesting. But I'm not sure. Not sure on the art. Surprisingly, I know there are lots of Phil Noto fans out there, and I am a fan of just looking at a cover or a single picture that he wants to do, whatever. But I've now read this that he's done the artwork in, and Creator Own. He did the Trigger 6 arc from the Creator Own by Image Comics, and I was kind of I don't know on it either. Like I said, there's stuff about his art I like, but his color palette and whatnot I really like, but I'm not sure. Anyway, that's it. I'm trying to keep these no capes short to some degree, do 3 at a time. I meant to talk about it on my last What the Few, but got caught up in other stuff. What do you guys think of this, me doing 3 at a time, or should I be doing more books at a time? Because I always end up, every week I have a minimum of 3, if not 6 or 7 no cape books that I get every couple of weeks. Is it better to have these shorter videos where I'm only talking about 3 at a time, or should I sit here like my Monster Comic Reviews and crank out a whole bunch all at once? Which is easier to digest? More videos throughout the week of these no capes, or one longer video that you sit down for longer to watch if you're actually going to watch the whole thing. I'd much rather people actually watch it, so I'm inclined to do the smaller ones, in hopes that people will actually watch the 3 that I do, and then they can go and do something else. But at the same time, I don't want to flood people's subscription pages with a ton of videos, because I know sometimes that can be frustrating. If you feel like somebody's putting out too many, you lose interest in seeing the person's face too often on your subscription screen. Anyway, let me know on that. Let me know on the books. You guys reading those books? I know some of you are reading the Multiple Warheads, which is awesome. You guys reading any of that other stuff? I don't think any of you are. Well, no, some of you are reading Ghosts maybe, but I'm the only person I know that reads the BPRD stuff. Anyway, catch you later on the next one. Thanks. Bye.